Useless girl. Wash the dishes properly. That was the first thing I heard when I walked into my parents' house after a 6-hour drive. And the worst part? They weren't talking to me. They were talking to my 6-year-old daughter. My name is Rachel. And what I'm about to tell you is the story of how one moment changed everything, and how I made sure my family never forgot what they did to my little girl. I had driven straight from the airport. No warning. No call ahead. Just a mother's gut feeling that something was wrong. And when I stepped through that door, I found my daughter, tiny, trembling, standing on a step stool barely tall enough for her to reach the sink, scrubbing plates while my sister's daughters lounged on the couch, giggling, watching her like it was entertainment. My mother stood over her. "Can't even rinse properly," my dad muttered from the hallway. "She's not like Diana's girls," my mom added. "They know how to behave." Diana. My older sister. The golden one. The one with the pretty twins, the perfectly filtered Instagram life, and the parents who never once looked at her the way they looked at me. They had always preferred her. But I never, not in my darkest thoughts, imagined they would use my child to act out their favoritism. I walked into that kitchen. My daughter didn't see me. She was too focused. Trying harder. Faster. Terrified of getting it wrong. I said one word. "Enough." Everyone froze. My mom turned around. "Oh, you're here. We were just teaching her." "Teaching her?" I said. "You mean screaming at a 6-year-old while her cousins laugh at her?" My dad waved his hand. "Don't be so dramatic. Kids need discipline." I looked at my daughter. Tears were sitting in her eyes. But she didn't cry. Because she had already learned that in this house, tears don't earn you compassion. So I didn't argue. I didn't raise my voice. I simply walked back outside, got into my car, and made a phone call to the bank. To the loan officer I had worked with quietly for years. Because here's what my family had conveniently forgotten: I had been paying their mortgage since 2019. After my dad's retirement. After Diana couldn't afford it and needed just a little time. That little time had turned into years. And not once had anyone said thank you. Within 48 hours of that call, their auto payment stopped. Their grace period expired. And the foreclosure notice went live. The house they used to humiliate my daughter was officially scheduled for auction. And me? I never looked back. They didn't notice right away. Not at first. They still walked around that house like royalty. Still gave Diana's girls fresh juice in the good glasses while my daughter got a cracked cup with tap water. To them, that house wasn't just shelter. It was a throne. And my child? A servant. But what they didn't know was that the throne had termites, and I was done pretending it was gold. 3 days after I canceled the payments, my mom called. "Rachel, did the bank contact you? There must be some mistake. We got a notice about a missed payment." I smiled. "No mistake, Mom. I stopped paying." Silence. Then came the soft voice. The fake warmth. "But honey, we thought you were helping out of love. Family supports each other." "Family," I said, "does not scream at a 6-year-old like she's free labor." She sputtered. I hung up. For the first time in my life, I didn't explain myself to people who only respected what I gave, never who I was. Next came Diana. "Rachel, you can't do this. The girls love this house. Mom and Dad will be devastated." I took a breath. And where was that concern when they were calling my daughter names while yours laughed? "They were just playing," she snapped. "No," I said. "Your kids play. Mine performs." Then I hung up. No more debates. No more defending myself. I didn't owe them a warning. I didn't owe them a speech. I owed one thing: protection. To my daughter. And that started with tearing down the place where her light was treated like an inconvenience. Before I continue, if you've ever felt invisible in your own family, if you've ever been the one who gives everything and gets nothing back, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications. Stories like Rachel's are exactly what this channel is about. Real, raw, and absolutely worth staying for. Subscribe now and don't miss a single one. A week later, the official notice was nailed to their front door. Auction date confirmed. I didn't gloat. I didn't drive past to watch. I just picked up my daughter, held her small face in my hands, and said quietly, "You will never have to earn your place in this world again." Because they taught her she was disposable. So I showed her she was undeniable. The day the notice went public, the family group chat exploded. Aunt Mel called it cruel. Uncle James wanted to mediate. Even Grandma, who once told me that girls like mine needed toughening up, sent me a message with just 2 words. Why, Rachel? Because you all watched. Because not one of you said a word when she wiped that table 3 times and sat in silence while her cousins got second helpings. But now that the house is up for auction, suddenly I'm the villain? That's how this family works. They don't protect the quiet ones. They protect the walls that echo their name. Well, those walls are for sale now. I didn't feel guilty. I felt free. Because when you spend years sacrificing for people who never say thank you, eventually the silence stops feeling like pain and starts feeling like power. They had forgotten the arrangement. How I stepped in after Dad's stroke. How I offered to take over the loan when Diana needed time to recover from a bad investment. They never paid me back. Not in money. Not in kindness. Not even in acknowledgement. But my daughter paid. In humiliation. In tiny bruises of the soul that they called lessons. And I was done letting her carry my debt. 2 days later, Dad called. Rachel, please. The bank says it's almost final. Can you just fix it? 1 more month. I didn't raise my voice. Dad, do you remember what you called my daughter the day I walked in? Silence. Do you remember her face? More silence. Then there's nothing left to say. I ended the call. Because there are moments in life when you stop seeking repair and start building new ground entirely. And my daughter? She's blooming. She sings now while washing dishes, in our own kitchen, in our own home, where no one yells when a cup isn't spotless. Because I didn't just cancel their payments. I canceled the cycle. The auction happened on a Tuesday. Quiet. Orderly. Final. I didn't attend. I didn't need to. The moment I stopped that last payment, I had already walked out of that house in my mind, not just the structure, but everything it stood for. Control. Favoritism. Emotional violence dressed up as discipline. Diana was the only one who showed up, not to bid, she couldn't afford it, but to plead. She stood on the courthouse steps, crying into her phone to the new owner. It's our family home, she wept. But the man on the other end wasn't family. He was a real estate investor. He didn't care about memories. He cared about numbers. And the numbers made sense. The house was gone. Just like that. Aunt Mel called that night. You didn't have to go this far. I said, you're right. I should have gone further years ago. That house didn't raise me. I raised myself in its shadows. I raised a daughter in its cracks. And now I'm raising something better, by refusing to stay silent 1 minute longer. Back at our place, peace had a sound. It was my daughter humming while drawing at the kitchen table. It was laughter between us, not at her. It was bedtime without anxiety. It was freedom. I watched her heal in real time. Because when I gave her the smallest gift, safety, she bloomed in ways that family never expected. We planted a garden together that week. Real soil. Real sun. A promise to ourselves, only nurture what nurtures you back. For every brick they laid with shame, I laid a new one with joy. Because some homes are inherited. But the real ones, the ones that matter, are built. And this one is finally ours. 3 weeks after the auction, the messages turned ugly. Diana, you're heartless. Dad's blood pressure is through the roof. Mom is depressed. You destroyed them. Aunt Mel, family doesn't evict family. Grandma, they took care of you your whole life. How could you? Took care of me. You mean the years I cooked for everyone while Diana rested? The birthdays where my name was scribbled in pencil and hers was lit up in sparklers? That kind of care? I didn't respond. But then came the message that removed every last trace of doubt I had. My mother. 2 lines. She's not one of us. That girl you had. Maybe she takes after her father. That girl. My daughter. The one who made me homemade cards when I was sick. The one who tried to wash dishes just to feel included. The one they mocked, cornered, crushed. They hadn't learned a single thing. Not even after the bank took the keys. They still thought guilt would drag me back. That I would patch it all together again. But what they didn't understand was this: the day I walked in and saw them screaming at my little girl, something inside me turned to steel. So I replied. Just once. You lost the house. You lost the money. And now you've lost the last thread of access to my life, and hers. We're done. This door isn't locked. It's gone. Blocked. Every number. Every email. Every ghost of who they pretended to be. Because I wasn't just protecting my child from their cruelty. I was teaching her something sacred, that love is not what people say when eyes are watching. It's what they do when no one is. And what they did was unforgivable. So I didn't burn a bridge. I erased the map. Her birthday came. They didn't show up. No gifts. No fake smiles. No more lessons wrapped in sugar-coated cruelty. And for the first time, my daughter didn't ask where they were. She just smiled. Wide. Free. Real. She blew out her candles in a house full of love, not judgment. We had our neighbors there. Her favorite teacher. My best friend from college who never once made her feel small. And when I tucked her in that night, she whispered, "Mom, this was the best birthday ever." I kissed her forehead and held her a little longer than usual. This is what a home should feel like. Not a place that turns children into servants. Not a table where laughter is used as a weapon. Just safety, softness, and belonging. Meanwhile, Diana was couch surfing. My parents were forced into a small apartment outside the city. The perfect family story didn't hold up under scrutiny. Turns out when your foundation is built on favoritism and silence, the collapse is public and permanent. One cousin messaged me privately. I saw what happened. I wish I'd spoken up sooner. I saw how they treated you both. I thanked her genuinely, but told her we were done looking backward. Because here's the truth about families like mine. They aren't lost to tragedy. They're peeled back by truth, layer by layer, until you're standing in the light, realizing you were never the broken one. You were the witness. The survivor. The seed they tried to bury, not knowing you were a storm. 2 months later, they tried to rewrite the story. Diana told anyone who'd listen that I was unstable. That the bank had tricked me. That I'd done it out of jealousy. Jealous of what, exactly? Of being screamed at? Of watching my daughter called useless while others lounged like royalty? They left out the part where my child was humiliated. They said nothing about the trauma they brewed like it was family tradition. So I said nothing back. Because the truth doesn't need defending. It stands on its own, when you're finally standing beside it. I enrolled my daughter in a school that prioritized emotional intelligence. We traveled, something I had always postponed because I was too busy rescuing everyone else from their consequences. Now we were collecting joy the way I used to collect reasons to stay quiet. I also quietly started a small foundation, Rise Before Rain, dedicated to children dismissed and devalued by the very people meant to protect them. Therapy grants, mentorship, art supplies, after-school safe spaces. No press. No spotlight. Just action. Because sometimes the best revenge is replacing what broke you with something that heals others. I still get messages from distant relatives. Come home. They miss you. Let the past go. But when they say home, they mean the house I paid for and then took back. When they say miss, they mean they miss the version of me who stayed silent. And when they say let it go, they mean bury it. Like we always did. But I am not a shovel. I am a mirror. And I won't crack just because the reflection makes them uncomfortable. Spring came. My daughter's drawings changed completely. No more dark corners or sad stick figures. Now she painted open skies. Houses with her name on the mailbox. Tables where everyone had a seat. One afternoon, while unpacking boxes from our old apartment, she held up a framed photo. 3 years old, her standing stiff beside my mother, eyes empty, a forced smile stretched across her small face. She looked at it. Then looked at me. Can I throw this away? I nodded. She dropped it in the trash without flinching. That's when I knew, the cycle didn't just break. It ended. Not with an explosion. But with a quiet little girl reclaiming her power, piece by piece. As for my parents, their lease ran out. They moved in with Diana. Funny how the golden girl becomes the only option when the gold starts flaking. I haven't spoken to them in nearly a year. Not because I hate them. But because I love my daughter more than I will ever love being understood by people committed to misunderstanding me. The truth is simple, I didn't destroy their life. I stopped financing the illusion of it. They built a house of hierarchy and called it family. I called it what it was, emotional debt. And I paid it off the day I walked into that kitchen and saw my baby girl being told she wasn't enough. Now she knows better. Now I do too. We still pass through that old neighborhood sometimes. And every time, my daughter reaches for my hand and asks, "Are we ever going back?" I always smile the same way. Steady. Certain. Calm. No, sweetheart. We came back to ourselves. And that's more than enough. Because the best revenge isn't a courtroom or a foreclosure notice. It's a little girl who no longer flinches when someone raises their voice. It's a home where no one has to earn love. And it's a mother who burned the blueprint, just to rebuild something real.